Europa Report from 2013 is a sci-fi movie that I had on Blu-ray that I bought from Hamilton Book. It is a deep space exploration film about a crew who is sent to explore Jupiter's moon Europa, because this is an ice planet where it is believed that there is water under the ice, and wherever there is water there may be life. So this crew goes out there and things happen. It is found footage-esque because most of the movie is through the cameras that are in the spaceship, so it has a found footage feel to it, but there are also pseudo-documentary parts to it. I thought this was quite good. I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it, as in you have to run out and see it, but I'm glad I own it on Blu-ray, and I would recommend it if you're looking for kind of a low budget, just, I hate to say throwaway, but that kind of sci-fi movie. I think you could do a lot worse than Europa Report. Next we have Evil Dead Rise, and in a way I wish I had left some time between when I watched Evil Dead 2013 last week and this movie, because watching them back to back, it feels like an unfair comparison. Not that I watched them in the same day, but just a couple days later. Evil Dead Rise has a different story than we're used to with the Evil Dead movies. It takes place in a high-rise apartment building. This one has kind of a family dynamic where you have these two sisters and the one sister's children as your main characters. This movie has one of the greatest opening sequences and one of the best title cards I've ever seen, so I was really drawn in from the get-go. However, as time went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that this movie had kind of a direct-to-streaming feel to it. I know it was theatrically released, but it just felt very Netflixy to me, and I don't know if this is because of a reliance on CGI. I know the 2013 movie, they tried not to use a ton of CGI. I'm not sure about this one. But where the 2013 movie made me squirm with the pain that the characters are going through, in this movie I just kind of laughed at it, and I found it to be more silly. The movie was entertaining overall, and I do like it, but I'm afraid it does not come even close to Evil Dead 2013. Also, this film is pro-life and pro-natal, so it definitely influenced a little bit of a higher rating than I probably would have given it. The Covenant, or Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, is an example of befuddling marketing with a movie, because why they slapped Guy Ritchie's name all over this is a mystery to me. Even if he directed it, what putting his name at the front of the title did was to set expectations that this movie would be like a Guy Ritchie movie. Now, I'm a little bit out of the loop on Guy Ritchie movies, but like most people, I know Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch as Guy Ritchie's most important works. So when I started watching an Afghanistan war film, I thought I was going to get some wacky stuff. But what this really is a paint-by-the-numbers, propagandistic, jingoistic, pro-war film. And I liked it, I guess. And I buddy watched this with a coworker of mine. He recommended it. He hadn't seen it. And he really loved it. And I enjoyed it about halfway through. When I realized what it was, I started to get into it. Because, again, I was expecting some Guy Ritchie craziness, and you don't get that. This is a Hollywood film through and through, complete with a all hope is lost, everything turns out all right in the end kind of ending. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal, so I like this movie. I can't really knock it too much just because my expectations were out of whack. I just wish it was just called The Covenant, and I didn't know that Guy Ritchie directed it. 12-Hour Shift from 2020 stars Angela Bettis as a grizzled Arkansas nurse who was involved in an organ smuggling ring with one of her fellow nurses. First of all, I will watch anything that Angela Bettis is in. She's not super prolific, so I only have a few more to hunt down. But this was, of course, a great performance by her as a 1,000-yard stare nurse who has seen some shit and has some shit on her conscience. She works with her hapless cousin, who is played by Chloe Farnworth, as the courier who brings these organs to the bad guys. And this film is about one night where all the plans go wrong, and it is really funny. And the movie goes out of control in a really satisfying way, where if you like movies where things just unravel and go out of control, then this is definitely for you. I originally rated it as 3 stars, but then I listened to an interview with the director on the Dead Meat podcast, and I liked where she was coming from, so I actually bumped it up. And I went ahead and grabbed the Blu-ray from Hamilton Book because they have it, so I ordered that, and that's on the way. Next we have Cemetery Man, which I watched on the Region B Blu-ray that was sent to me by Mr. Cooper. So once again, this is your reminder to go follow Mr. Cooper on Twitter. Thanks, Mr. Cooper. Cemetery Man is a very strange movie from the mid-90s, and one comparison that kept coming to mind for me was the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves, because it is this fantastical, strange movie that, because it's based on separate source material, it can be kind of convoluted and inconsistent in its plot, characterizations, and story. However, it's so much fun, it's so stupid, and there's some Sam Raimi-esque, Peter Jackson-esque special effects and action in it that will keep you entertained throughout the movie. It is surrealistic, it has a lot of gore, it has a lot of nudity. It really is the full package except for a coherent and satisfying story. It's an oddity in my collection, and I'm glad to have it. Next, we have The Coffee Table, a Spanish horror movie from 2022. This movie has been in the YouTube zeitgeist for a little while, and when I noticed it was on Canopy, I figured I'd give it a shot. It's a pressure cooker type story that is a reimagining of The Telltale Heart, if you will. The movie is about a man who really wants this gaudy-ass coffee table, and his wife does not want it. That's how the movie opens. I found the beginning of this movie to be quite relatable because I like to decorate my house with weird stuff, and I'm always picking up things on Facebook and at garage sales, and my wife does let me get away with it. She's not as prickly as the wife in this movie, but I could definitely relate to this kind of materialistic urge that our main character has at the beginning. In fact, the main themes of this movie, which by the way is a completely miserable and traumatizing movie in the best ways, the main themes are not only about telling the truth and coming clean when something happens, but also about materialism and how it can damage a family, and I really felt that. Now, when the inciting incident happens, it's all bets are off, and you are really not rooting for anybody in this story, and it is just harsh and dark, and there are parts that are very funny, but I felt like I was just laughing out of nervousness, laughing with my teeth clenched. And as a result, this is a movie that is actually hard to recommend to anyone because of the subject matter. I'm sure we all have seen some very good movies that we never want to watch again and cannot recommend to anyone. And I think The Coffee Table is one of those for me. Now, staying with the theme of furniture, the last movie I watched is The Puffy Chair. This was recommended by my friend Corey. We do a buddy watch every weekend. So hi Corey, if you're watching this, leave a comment. The Puffy Chair is a 2005 Duplass Brothers movie, and I'm a huge fan of Mark Duplass. I think he's a great actor, and his soon-to-be wife at the time, Katie Aselton, is in this as well. The movie is about a man and his girlfriend who take an impromptu road trip to pick up a chair that the dude bought off eBay to give to his father for his father's birthday. And it's a road trip movie. They go to stop and meet with his brother on the way, and the brother wants to come on the road trip. So now you have a third wheel type of situation. The film was shot using a consumer grade camera, and what really hit me about this movie was the fact that my wife and I are around the same age approximately as Mark Duplass and Katie Hazelton, and knowing that they ended up getting married in real life, it made me find this film very relatable in both good and bad ways. And what I mean by that is I felt like I was looking back at myself watching this movie, and thusly the characters were quite annoying in a lot of ways, and so this movie was quite a mixed bag for me. It veers between moments of absolute annoying nonsense and moments of moving truth and clarity. And that is why I gave it 2.5 stars, because it was right down the middle for me. Probably even I gave it that extra half a star for the nostalgia of it. So it doesn't get a huge recommendation for me, but if you're a fan of Mark Duplass, you've probably already seen this movie, or if not, it's a definite no-brainer. And that's going to do it for this week. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next video.